10 months ago, my husband and I bought a van. And since then, we've been pouring every free moment of our time and energy into converting it. Now, our house is officially on the market, and we're selling nearly everything we own so we can hit the road and start fresh with our 2 dogs. But honestly, the wildest part about this whole thing is that we have no idea where we're even going. But the real story doesn't start there. The story really begins at some point in time after we moved into our house in the suburbs, after we adopted our second dog. The beginning is somewhere during the 4 years of working remotely behind a screen with no coworkers to share in the water cooler talk and no real-life friends to have barbecues with. Our story begins somewhere in all of that messiness, the moment when we realized that what we were doing wasn't working and something needed to change. I couldn't tell you the exact moment we decided to buy a van, to convert it ourselves with our own 2 hands and ditch our life to start a new one. But I can tell you what led us there and what brought us to where we are now. I've never really felt like I belonged anywhere. The only time I've felt any sense of the word has been when I'm in the wild, somewhere deep within Mother Nature's arms. My hands a little dirty, the soles of my feet a bit sore, the tops of my shoulders and cheeks sun-kissed. There's something magical that happens in nature. The elephant's foot of anxiety on my chest lifts and I can breathe again. All the worries I typically find myself ruminating on don't really seem to matter all that much anymore. And when I can breathe, I can become the truest, fullest, most authentic version of myself. But I haven't felt that for so long. I think I might have forgotten what that actually feels like. Being me. Before we bought our van, life seemed gray, colorless. The monotony of working 8+ hours a day behind a screen, taking the dogs for their usual stroll around the same streets of the same neighborhood, exercise, shower, feed the dogs, feed myself, coffee, work, clean, cook, feed the dogs, rinse, wash, repeat. With every passing day, I felt like I was losing myself. I didn't recognize the person in my reflection. I stopped writing. I stopped dancing. I made excuses not to go outside, and instead, I distracted myself by binge-watching season after season of whatever show could carry me away into an alternate reality, a universe that was anything but my own. Which is strange because for a long time I never even owned a TV, and now I couldn't tear myself away from it. You see, I believe we've been fed a narrative of what our life is supposed to look like and what we should do. The picket fence and climbing the corporate ladder, strive for nice things, invest in a 401k, have children, and take 1 vacation each year. And, of course, do not forget to post perfectly curated photos on social media to ensure that the rest of the world sees just how perfectly you are coloring within the lines. But every time I start to fit within the box, my insides scream at me as if I'm forcing myself to hike up Everest while wearing shoes that are 10 sizes too small. Trapped. Claustrophobic, I panic and can't seem to catch my breath no matter how many sun salutations I do. I know that the lines are good for some people. I'm in no way shaming what it means to color within the lines. The lines can give structure, routine, meaning, stability, and for some, it makes sense and provides a very fulfilling life. I get that. But those lines have never really been my guiding light. I am truly grateful for this home we have built within these 4 walls. But 2 things can be true at the same time. I know it's not our forever place in the world. And as Jason so perfectly said, this house was exactly what we needed in this season of our lives. Once we finally took the plunge and purchased our van on July 2nd, 2024, we entered into a brand new phase of our lives. Color was coming back into view. I started pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, learning new skills and navigating a world of construction and power tools. Dirt was finally underneath my fingernails yet again. I started this channel and began making videos to reignite my creativity, even if just in a small way. It brought Jason and I closer together, having something we could collectively work on that challenged us in our communication and gave us small victories throughout each week to celebrate. And now, 10 months later, with our van so close to being finished, we have once again entered yet another season. We're different people now than who we were when this entire journey began. Our plan had always been to live out of our van with our 2 dogs. The time frame uncertain, the destination unknown. But just as we have evolved in these last 10 months, so has our plan. We no longer want to call the van our home, but rather a vehicle to help us find where home might be. Our new plan is one I love and very on brand for us. We've decided to make a list of 20 places we want to explore. 20 places we can spend some time in to see how they feel to us. Because while the van has been our project for almost a year, it is not the end goal. I know more about myself now and about the world around me. I know more about what I want, and as a family, we're learning that having some sense of stability, one place we can always turn back to after a long journey on the road, is important to us. Our touch tree, if you will. We want to buy land with enough acreage to build a homestead, something we can call our own, something sustainable and as close to off-grid as possible, allowing us to leave a smaller footprint. We want somewhere we can spend less time with screens and more time in nature, learning everything about the land and all she has to offer. We want to be somewhere where we can find a community of like-minded people we could one day have those barbecues with, to celebrate big milestones and have each other's backs. I'm ready to take this journey of self-discovery, or I suppose self-rediscovery. But I know for a fact that I won't be able to fully see myself if I stay where I am now. I know without a shadow of a doubt that I will only live as a shell of myself if I do not answer the call that is begging me to leave here. No, our house hasn't sold yet. We are in a waiting period that is teaching us about patience. And no, we haven't figured out where those 20 places are going to be. Maybe someone who sees this may have some wisdom to share. Somewhere they've experienced that could open its arms to us, even if just for a brief moment in our lives. Somewhere that can be exactly what we need in this next season. We don't know where we're going, but we know why we're leaving. Because sometimes you have to get lost in order to find yourself again.